Hello and welcome to A Gypsy Kiss, the book club. I'm Shelley Carney.
And I'm Toby, and stick with us a couple of seconds, and we will talk about gold and more.
And we're back.
Were you going to give me some bad news?
No, I was just going to look for us on Facebook and see if
okay.
we were actually streaming there.
Oh, okay.
Because
It's hard to tell.
There it is. We're there.
Okay, good.
Okay. So, hello, and thanks for joining us today. Please take a moment and give us a like with a thumbs up, either on YouTube or Facebook, and send us little love notes wherever else you might be picking us up from. Share our video with your friends and social media contacts and let them know we're live, and we'll be taking questions live right after the presentation. The subscribe button is that red rectangle. Just click on that, and then when a bell appears, click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we go live or release a new video. And you can also do that on Facebook, where you can subscribe to our feed and get notified when we go live. We have a little housekeeping to take care of.
I'm going to go turn off the air conditioner while you're doing that.
That's one of the housekeeping things, I guess, air conditioning. We want to send out a big thanks to our moderators, Jimmy Fast, Joel Lewicki, Jason Eunice, Brian Eagle, and Eric Schmidt. Today's presentation will be on Chapter 23, Thrill of the Chase, Gold and More. And after that, we will have open Q&A as well as call-in. There's the number, 1-800-947-1043, and you can call that 24/7 and leave a voicemail, or you can text there and we'll get those texts as well. And after our presentations on our live shows that Toby and I do, we open up the phone lines so you can call in as well.
Anything else?
I don't have anything else.
So today's wine is brought to you by our...
I'll just turn that off.
Is that YouTube?
That's
or
Facebook.
Twitch?
It's Facebook.
Oh, Facebook. So we are live streaming to YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Periscope today, and we're going to try and track all the chat from that programming. As a matter of fact, let me check and see how it's doing. Oh, yeah. So we are getting it. It's all Facebook right now.
Did you get one from Sean Martinez and one from Claudine?
Okay, so the bad news is it doesn't scroll up.
Those are all YouTube.
Yeah, but that's because it's up here, right? And it doesn't scroll.
There's no scroll?
That's the restream scroll. Okay, we're just going to have to do it your way.
Do it our way.
Do it your way.
Do it our way.
Okay, so back to where I was. Our wine today is brought to you by our viewer and subscriber, Steve Gahagan. He presented this to me at the event at the Collected Works bookstore for the Jamie Jordan raffle drawing. It's called Max Creek Winery and Vineyards. It's a Buzzard's Roost Blush. And we haven't tasted it yet, so we're going to give it a little try right now. But we wanted to say thank you, and let's drink to our viewer and subscriber, Steve Gahagan.
Gahagan. Cheers.
So, wow, in comparison to the last 2 weeks' wines, where the last two wines that we've had have been very, very sweet. This one is not as sweet, but it's not as dry. It's very fruity.
It's very fruity.
Very fruity, very nice, very like a tart, fruity flavor. I could recommend this. It's a good wine. Steve, thank you very much. Also, let's do a second toast.
Okay.
To viewer and subscriber Chris Kenzie, who is celebrating her 54th birthday today, and asked us to give her I don't know if I can do this with a glass in my hand.
Oh, we're doing a high five.
High five. Chris,
high five.
That's for you.
And cheers. Happy birthday.
Many more. Oh, that is a damned good wine, huh?
Different.
Yeah, very different. I like it. Very fruity.
Lots of notes in there.
Yeah, there is. Okay, so let's go on to the Forrest Fenn Book Club, Thrill of the Chase, Chapter 23, Golden Moor. I will warn you that Shelley and I had a long conversation about this chapter, trying to decide whether or not we should do it in 2 episodes. We decided against that. We thought we should do it in 1 episode because it is not only an important chapter, but it's a long one as well. So...
and of course it contains the poem.
Right. It contains the poem. It contains whatever hints that we think we get out of the book. I believe there's at least one indication that we use in our solution, or in our lottery ticket, as I like calling it. But we decided to do it in 1 episode, so we're going to go a bit long. We hope you're patient with us, and because Shelley did a really good analysis on it, and we're going to cover it from the perspective of our view of Fenn, right? So this is as usual. This is not hints, clues, poem. This is an analysis of Fenn's writing and how it gives us insight into Fenn, with a couple of comments that relate to how it may fit into a solution. Okay? So we ready?
Mm-hmm. This is from pages 126 to 133.
Okay.
126 has got this picture of the chest on it.
Okay. So, but it's a pretty good sized chapter, isn't it? In comparison to some of the other chapters that we've dealt with. All right, we're starting on page 127, paragraph 1. In my mind, I've always been the best in the world at collecting fun things. My career started early with soda pop caps because they were plentiful, free, and easy to find. One of my rules was that I couldn't collect the caps unless I first drank the pop. But that idea wasn't too good because I didn't have enough nickels to sustain it. My father went around to all of the gas stations in town that sold soda pop and gathered up the hundreds of caps, maybe even thousands. When he gave them to me, I quickly lost interest. How could I continue to collect bottle caps when it looked like I already had all that were ever made?
So this part of the story shows us that Forrest enjoys collecting those rare items that he had to work hard to find. His behavior as a collector stayed true throughout his life, and the items he included in the treasure chest speak to his great interest in rare pieces.
Page 127, paragraph 3. Then I started collecting string. I hoped to tie on at least 3 strings a day, and after a year or so, the ball was so large it couldn't go through my bedroom door. Even to this day, the mystery of what happened to my string ball remains one of the great unsolved crimes in my family.
I found this interesting because I know there's a children's story. I don't remember the title of it, but the boy was collecting string and the ball got too big to fit through the door. So I found it interesting that he also was doing that. Although Fenn's parents attempted to discourage his habit of collecting, it seemed to only fuel his passion for it. I remember visiting with Forrest in his home, and one of the questions he asked before I left was, "What do you collect?" I think he expects that everyone shares his passion for collecting something.
You know, that's funny because that's probably one of the areas that he and I have least in common. Mm-hmm. Although we have a lot of areas that we do have in common. That's probably the least because I'm not a collector. Even when I do get crazy about something, the habit lasts about 6 months.
Or you give it all away.
And I start giving it away. Then I lose interest in it, and I start giving it all away. So I'm not an accumulator. I don't have a, except maybe for, photography, audio, and video equipment. That's about it.
Yeah, but that's something that you're going to use to create something
thing.
else.
Yeah.
They're tools. Yeah. Whereas, what he's collecting are rare items that other people want, that he wants to, and then he wins the competition. Mm-hmm. He gets to have that prize, either by, bartering or purchasing it.
Hold this for a second. I'm going to slide the microphone more into your line of conversation just a little bit without covering you up as well. So
and I've never been that way either. I've not collected like Beanie Babies, or I don't know. Some people, they're easy to shop for because they collect elephants. So everybody buys them some kind of little elephant or little pig or something that, like Sue had for a while collected pigs, and everybody was giving her pigs, and she had a whole collection. And then when it was time to move, because they were in the Air Force, it was
she had to get rid of them.
Quite a ordeal to have to get rid of everything.
My mother collected elephants. Funny that you should mention that, yeah. Page 128, paragraph 4. And then I got cancer. There was no hero anywhere in me, and everything I thought about radiated an aura of misfortune. But nature can be lenient at times, like with Olga. I figured I had at least a year to live. Before, I had been happy with where my life was, but now what I seemed to lack in time remaining was conspicuously exceeded by my sudden desire for more of it.
Forrest cannot come to terms with what he felt was the last year of his life. He wanted more time. He was happy with his life when he thought he had many more years ahead. However, he became desperate to cling to every moment when that time was suddenly very limited. And he's just basically building up for us why he is going to collect the treasure together and what he does with it.
So like Eric Sloan at the age of 80?
Giving you a setting, an idea of his feelings, how he's feeling desperate for more time.
Page 129, paragraph 2. Then one night, after the probability of my fate had finally hit bottom, I got an idea. It had been so much fun building my collection over the decades. Why not let others come searching for some of it while I'm still here, and maybe continue looking for it after I'm gone? So I decided to fill a treasure chest with gold and jewels, then secret it, leaving clues on how to find it for any searcher willing to try. It was a perfect match of mind and moment. Ha! I liked the idea, but it would take some planning, and the clock was ticking. No matter how far away a date is on the calendar, it always seems to arrive sooner in the face of unpleasant situations like mine.
This is the moment that Forrest decided to assemble a treasure and hide it, leaving clues for others to search it out. He says he had so much fun finding and putting together the treasure that he wanted to share that fun with others. It seemed to occupy his mind during his recovery and gave him a project that probably pushed him mentally and emotionally to live long enough to see it through.
So do you think the concept of having something to focus on, like hiding this treasure and imagining the excitement of all the people that would be involved, and especially the excitement of the finder, do you think that was an aid in his recovery?
Absolutely. Think as a parent how excited you are to see children Christmas morning opening their gifts, or Easter morning finding their Easter eggs that you have put out there for them. And the only reason you go through all that work of shopping and wrapping and hiding and all of the work that goes into Christmas, or all the work that goes into Easter, you do it for that moment when the children are out there looking and finding their gifts. It's very motivating.
Mm. Page 129, paragraph 3. Fortunately, I talked a museum friend into selling me his beautiful cast bronze chest that had three-dimensional female figures on its four sides and on the lid. I know I paid way too much for it, but once in a while something comes along that is so special as to discount all logical rules of value. An excited antique scholar said the chest was probably a Romanesque lockbox that dated to about 1150 Anno Domini. He thought it might have once held a family Bible or a book of days. Now I could hold my ancient jewelry in solid gold pieces. Now it could hold my ancient jewelry in solid gold pieces. I was delighted. It was the perfect treasure chest.
Forrest began to make plans and take action to put the treasure together. Once he had made up his mind to hide the treasure, he didn't hesitate to start the venture. Well, he didn't have time to hesitate, of course. He wanted the perfect treasure chest, and finding it gave his life an exciting purpose at a time when each day was a struggle to survive cancer and the loss of his kidney.
Page 129, paragraph 4. I also wanted to include something personal with the treasure, because maybe the lucky finder would want to know a little about the foolish person who abandoned such an opulent cache. So I placed a 20,000-word autobiography in the chest. It's in a small glass jar, and the lid is covered with wax to protect the contents from moisture. The printed text is so small that a magnifying glass is needed to read the words. I tried to think of everything.
This part of the story makes it sound as if he didn't think about writing the Thrill of the Chase book to go along with the poem. His autobiography would probably be in the form of a factual text, listing his name, birthplace, and date, and a synopsis of his life story. It would probably sum up his life until his bout with cancer. It's hard to know if he would have written past that point to include the rest of his life after he got well again. When he says he tried to think of everything, he may mean that he tried to include all his personal information in the autobiography, or he may mean that he tried to think of everything that he would need for his treasure hunt.
So what do you think the difference is between the autobiography that he placed in the olive jar and then the treasure chest, and the memoir that he writes in The Thrill of the Chase?
I think the difference is, take a look at your Gravatar. Is that what you call it? Gravatar? Gravatar?
Gravatar?
Gravatar?
Yeah.
Yeah. Take a look at your Gravatar. It's factual.
It's a biography.
And then take a look at our YouTube channel, and when we're telling stories and how different those are.
It's
right?
a memory.
They're both you, but they're told in different ways. The Gravatar being very factual, listing work experience and that sort of thing. You know, how many kids you might have, or things that are factual that people could look up and check and know who you were from. You know, father of 6, grandfather of 11, and counting.
And counting.
And a puppy. So, yeah, I think that's the difference. Mm-hmm. The memoir is stories that, you know, about his life, much like your stories of the helicopter crash or stealing the motorcycle to go to New Orleans. These vignettes are very interesting stories, and they tell us about a time in your life, but they don't tell us about your whole life.
So with 100% being absolutely similar to one another, that what's in the olive jar, and that's in the memoir, and as I said, 100% being absolutely a perfect match, what is the percentage probability that they are a perfect match?
To me, I believe that they're two different things. I think he may have included a little bit of the story of why he hid the treasure, so that could be a match to the book. But I think the rest of it is probably just about his life and who he was.
So low probability.
Yeah.
Under 25%.
Yeah.
That's low probability.
That's
okay.
my opinion.
Your opinion. Page 130, paragraph 1. Then I started filling the chest with gold coins, mostly old American eagles and double eagles, along with lots of placer nuggets from Alaska. 2 weigh more than a pound each, and there are hundreds of smaller ones. Also included are pre-Columbian gold animal figures and ancient Chinese human faces carved from jade. The different objects in the cache are too numerous to mention one by one, but among them are a Spanish 17th century gold ring with a large emerald that was found with a metal detector, and an antique lady's golden dragon coat bracelet that contains 254 rubies, 6 emeralds, 2 Ceylon sapphires, and numerous small diamonds.
And if you're wondering what a coat bracelet is, he explained that that is a bracelet that you wear on the outside of your clothing in the winter time. So I imagine it would be bigger than a regular bracelet that would just fit tight to your wrist. It feels like Forrest wants to itemize the list of fabulous items in the chest, yet at the same time, he seems hesitant to disclose everything. He does mention that a ring that was found with a metal detector is in the chest, perhaps indicating that a metal detector could once again prove useful in finding it. Fenn is quoted in an interview saying, "You know, if I've got to go, I'm just going to take... Well, who says I can't take it with me? It took me about 15 years to put the whole thing together. Who says I can't affect the future after I'm gone?"
That 15-year quote comes up at Moby Dickens, where he said it was 15 years between the time I wrote the poem and hid the treasure.
Mm-hmm.
And between the time I got cancer and I hid the treasure. That's why we came up with that 2003 solution. Page 130, paragraph 2, and with some reluctance I included a small silver bracelet that has 22 turquoise discs set side by side in a row. It fit snug on my arm and I loved it, but its history is what appealed to me most. Richard Wetherill excavated the beads from the ruins in 1898, and a Navajo silversmith made the bracelet for him the same year. In 1901, Wetherill sold it to Fred Harvey, the hotel magnate. 64 years later, I won it playing pool with Byron Harvey, an heir of Fred's.
Let's talk about that infamous bracelet. Forrest doesn't explain here why he felt compelled to include this bracelet when he was so reluctant to let it go. He is later quoted saying, "When you find the treasure, please come sell me the great turquoise and silver bracelet that is in the chest. I wish now that I had kept it. Also, I may make you an offer for the roe bracelet. Wish I had kept it now." Fenn also tells this story about the bracelet. Many years ago, one of the small prehistoric turquoise beads fell out of the bracelet. The Indian silversmith who repaired it for me buffed the 22 beads that were aligned in a row across the breadth of the bracelet. It turned a beautiful antique object into something new-looking. At first, I was upset, but then I realized that we each view life from a different perspective. The Indian wanted to give the bracelet back to me as he thought it looked when new, so that was okay with me. And this quote from Moby Dickens tells us just a little more. I wanted that treasure chest to be part of me. If I'm going to take it with me, I don't want it to be a bunch of abstract items. I put things in that treasure chest that are very dear to me. One of them, probably the cheapest thing in that treasure chest, is a wonderful little bracelet. It's the only Indian bracelet that I ever had that fit me. I used to walk down the street showing off that bracelet, worth about $350. But you know, it was special to me. Yeah, I want my little bracelet back.
So, like the pharaohs of Egypt, there is some sense that in his whatever reincarnated life he believes there to be, he would reacquire his bracelet and wear it in whatever afterlife he was experiencing. There's something spiritual about that little bracelet that I'm not aware of.
Maybe it's just he wished he would have kept it so he could continue to wear it because he liked wearing it so much.
Page 130, paragraph 3. One of the prizes in my collection, a Tairona and Sinu Indian necklace from Colombia, is also part of the treasure. It contains 39 animal fetishes carved from a quartz crystal carnelian, jadeite, and other exotic stones. But special to the necklace are two cast gold objects, one a jaguar claw and the other a frog with bulbous eyes and legs cocked as if they were ready to spring. I held the 2,000-year-old piece of jewelry one last time and could almost feel its ancient power, its supremacy, before I finally lowered it into the chest and closed the lid. A little of me is also inside that box, There must be a few Indiana Jones types out there, like me, ready to throw a bedroll in the pickup truck and start searching, with a reasonable chance of discovering a treasure chest containing more than 20 troy pounds of gold. For me, it will always be the thrill of the chase. What do you think?
You want to go to full screen? I was just thinking.
I want to go to full screen?
Don't you?
Why?
I don't know.
Oh, you're right.
Because we're pretty.
Yeah, because you're pretty.
I don't know. We are looking a little weird in the color.
You know what it is. I lowered the brightness on the monitor so that we could read. We were having trouble
just
reading
on the monitor.
chat.
Okay.
Yeah, so it looks darker on the monitor and more contrasty, but it's okay.
Yeah, and we are bright here,
Yeah,
so that's
you're
good.
fine.
Okay.
Sorry, I guess we could have done that
Little
earlier.
Housekeeping there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Again, Forrest inventories the items in the chest to remember and share what he has collected, and his marketing sensibilities must tell you how wonderful and powerful the items are within the chest. He tells us a little of me is also inside the box, but he doesn't explain that, so we must infer that he means the intangible piece of himself that are his memories and emotions attached to acquiring and admiring each piece. He finishes with the suggestion that there must be some Indiana Jones types, like himself, who are excited to have a reasonable chance of discovering the chest. After he has built it up with such hype, how could we resist?
Well, apparently we can't. Page 131, paragraph 1. I knew exactly where to hide the chest, so it would be difficult to find, but not impossible. It's in the mountains, somewhere north of Santa Fe. Indecision is key to flexibility, and that's why I wanted I'm sorry, let me read that sentence again. Indecision is the key to flexibility, and that's why I waited so long to secret my cache. And like Eric Sloan, at age almost 80, I figured it was time to act. So I wrote a poem containing 9 clues that, if followed precisely, will lead to the end of my rainbow and the treasure.
A lot in that paragraph.
Yeah, there is a lot in that paragraph.
He knew where to hide the chest, so it would be difficult to find, but not impossible. Fenn is also quoted in his replies, and these you can find on terryscant.com, and they come from either mysterious writings or interviews that he's done. And he says, I knew from the beginning where to hide the treasure. It wasn't until later that the clues were provided to find that spot. Also, the spot where I hid the treasure was in my mind from the time I first started thinking about the chase. It is special to me, and there was never another consideration. I was going to make it work no matter what. In my reverie, I often find myself stealing away to that place, and I will always consider it to be mine. Fenn also recounts when he hid the treasure. I hid it when I was either 79 or 80. My wife didn't know within 18 months of when I hid that thing. I also read another quote from him that said within 6 weeks, so he narrowed it down at another time. Mm-hmm. When asked in an interview how he picked the spot where he hid the treasure, Forrest answered, "It's a very special place to me. Otherwise, I would not have done it. I mean, I just couldn't take it out and bury it in the ground someplace where I didn't know where I was. I put it in that very secret and very dear place. Private. I walked back to my car smiling. I tell myself, yeah, it really felt good, because I had done something that I had dreamed about for a long time. First of all, it's very personal. And secondly, I didn't want to be talked out of something. The main reason is this was going to be something I'm going to do for myself. Nobody else has a part in it. I don't want them to know where I'm going or even what's in the chest."
Page 133, paragraph 1. There are also other subtle clues sprinkled in the stories. It was vital that nobody share my knowledge about the location of the treasure. Two people can keep a secret if one of them is dead. I dreamed the other night that I had been reincarnated as Captain Kidd and went to Gardner's Island looking for the treasure. It scared me so badly I was jarred awake and don't remember whether I found it or not.
This is a very strange non sequitur here. Within one paragraph, Fenn goes from suggesting there are clues in the stories, emphasizing that nobody else knows where the treasure is hidden, and then jumps to a dream about Captain Kidd. Is this a red herring, or is he pointing at something? He said he dreamed of hiding the chest for a long time. Is this the same kind of dream? That he will be reincarnated and go back to find the treasure?
This was that particular story about Captain Kidd and the Gardner Island was one of the ones, especially in this particular chapter, that jumped out at me as one of the aberrations, as you called it, a non sequitur. That is, it doesn't seem to fit with anything that he's talking about, and he just brings it up. Mm-hmm. And so there's two options, I suppose, when one brings something up like that. It was just a moment of inspiration, whether or not it fit. It's just like, oh, I have a cute story. I remember this story. Or there was some sort of intent. And I have always believed in this particular case, there was some sort of intent. Mm-hmm. And but if you match it to, the Gardner, Montana, et cetera, it doesn't fit well. So there's something underneath that particular paragraph, that particular story, that I think has a deeper and more principled meaning and resulting interpretation.
I'd have to agree, because you have to think, well, somebody went through this and checked his work, for misspellings and for accuracy mm-hmm. or something, grammar and punctuation or whatever. They would have noticed this and remarked upon it, I'm sure, and said, did you take something out here because it doesn't seem to fit mm-hmm. together? These two thoughts don't belong in the same paragraph. Do you want to split that up into two paragraphs? Mm-hmm. And he apparently didn't, because it's all one paragraph.
That's all one paragraph, yeah. Finally, questions to ponder. Why does Fenn include the phrase, will lead to the end of my rainbow? Is this the promise of something beautiful, a real rainbow due to water and light refractions, or a reference to the bridge between life and death?
And we didn't read the poem because we figured everybody already knew it.
You know what I would like you to do? I would like you to put on your best Shelley voice. I'm going to take Jason's advice, where he just listens to it in a long loop. And I can't think of anybody to put on my loop than you. So I'm going to have you read this. I know we didn't plan this, but I'm actually going to have you do it.
So in case we have anybody out there in new listener land who has not already heard and or memorized the poem, I'll go ahead and read it for you.
So this could be a problem, because this is my book with all my notes on it, so it may be.
I probably know it by heart anyway.
Don't get in the way of the microphone. I'd like you to read it as close as you can. Okay, go ahead. 3, 2, 1, and?
As I have gone alone in there, and with my treasures bold, I can keep my secret where, and hint of riches new and old. Begin it where warm waters halt, and take it in the canyon down. Not far, but too far to walk, put in below the home of Brown. From there it's no place for the meek, the end is ever drawing nigh. There'll be no paddle up your creek, just heavy loads and water high. If you've been wise and found the blaze, look quickly down your quest to cease. But tarry scant with marvel gaze, just take the chest and go in peace. So why is it that I must go and leave my trove for all to seek? The answers I already know. I've done it tired, and now I'm weak. So hear me all and listen good. Your effort will be worth the cold. If you are brave and in the wood, I give you title to the gold.
Well, thank you, Forrest.
Now, all of you have heard it for the millionth time.
Right, exactly. Okay, I think we are done with our analysis for today. Mm-hmm. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me move this. So I'm not going to open up the phone lines right now. Mm. Let me see. Hang on. I do have to do this. Okay. Okay, we're going to start. We're going to start our conversation with you guys, and remember, down at the bottom of your screen is the $ symbol. That's for super chat. If you'd like to.
Cha-ching. Sorry, my phone's being busy doing Facebook.
I'll make a recording for you so I can start doing. If you'd like to contribute to our project, you can go down and click on that super chat $ and make a contribution. And you also, it does a couple of things. Number one, it brings your contribution right to the top of the page so we see it. It also highlights in a variety of colors depending on the value of the super chat. And if you've got a question for us, that would be a good time to ask it because we see it on the screen right in front of us. It pops it up to the top. So
we make a big deal. We have a party. We cheers you. Cheers.
Yeah. And then
we drink every time there's a super chat.
That's going to tipsy the gypsies.
Oh, well, you know.
So we're also, as soon as we finish saying our hellos to everyone, we're going to open up the phone lines, 1-800-947-1043. You're welcome to send a text message to that number right now, and we'll just read it in order. It's a good way to reach us because I read those from my phone. Also, when we're not on open line, if you want to leave a voicemail that we'll read on the Friday evening program, you can leave a voicemail 24/7. And then I'll open the phone lines as soon as Shelley finishes greeting everyone. Okay?
Or you can open them now, or because then we're doing stuff at the same time.
Okay.
That worked last time.
Well, I can get the text. Do you want me to open the phone line now?
Oh, you have texts to look at?
I don't have texts for today. I have texts for Friday. So we could technically open them.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go back to full screen for you, and then I'm going to give you...
I'm sure you guys have questions and comments to make about this chapter, because it's...
Okay, I'm going to close that because that window's not being helpful.
I mean, if you only read this one chapter, you'd know everything there was to know about the treasure hunt, so...
Okay, that's the top of your chat.
All right. Well, let's say hello to our friends in the room and put in my headset because we might get phone calls. We're going to adjust some things around here.
You can have the scrolling device.
Some things. Okay. So let's say hello to our friends. Britt Chaser, that's Jonathan Jones. Hi. Listening in the car on the way home. Awesome.
So it would be, let's see, what time is it now? So it's that's 7. So it's 8:39. Is that correct? Well, plus 7 hours now.
I don't know. 23 Skidoo is here.
Isn't that a thing that people used to say?
23 Skidoo.
23 Skidoo.
20s, 1920s. Yeah. Steve Rempel, hi Toby. I'm expecting you to enlighten us all today. Knock our socks off, please. No pressure intended.
That's she does the analysis.
Copper Dan, I'm here but not watching, only listening. And he's working in his grinding booth. He does
the copper
works of art in copper. And if you'd like to see that more of that, he brought them to the raffle, right. So you can watch that video and see his work. He actually
sent me an email asking me for help in the launching of a new product. I couldn't do that today because we had a lot to get done. But Copper, I'll do it. Maybe I can do it tomorrow night on tomorrow night's show. Help you launch that product.
Okay. Britt Chaser says the most important chapter: think imagination, think metaphysical, think abstract, think what ifs. Good luck. Okay, well, we have a lot of thinking to do.
I hope Britt is taking the metro rather than driving home because now he's texting.
Or maybe he's gotten home.
Oh, okay.
Good afternoon to Eric Schmidt. Steve Gehagen is here. That's the guy who gave us the wine. Sean Martinez is here.
Great wine, Steve.
One of our great panel members, Sean Martinez.
Hey, Sean, you know what?
Of course, Britt Chaser was on our panel last night as well.
May I say something? Sean, I got the photo that you sent me by text message late last night. You had sent it earlier, but that was heroic, brother. Thank you.
I don't know what that was about.
Okay.
Journeyman's here. And JL. Totally Not Mitzi. Dave Erickson. Cindy Guess. Jeremy Milstead. Sledneck. And I'm at the bottom. Boop. And Jimmy Fast is here, one of our moderators.
Hey, Jimmy Fast.
Gage Cockerham from Montana.
Oh, look, Totally Not Mitzi.
Yeah, that's right.
Welcome back, Totally Not Mitzi.
Rick Plank from Cincinnati. See, I know where he's from because he's told me so many times.
Yeah.
I finally remember. Steve Smitherman, Deborah Jensen from New Orleans. A Kentucky man, also called Mike Patterson from Kentucky. Gary Sandberg from Seattle. Joe Fox. Dale Richards. Lori James from Salida. One of my very favorite places. Salida,
and one of
Colorado.
our very favorite people.
Yeah. And I'm at the bottom. Tom Cochran. So the phone lines are open?
Phone lines are open. Text lines are open. So feel free to call in with a question on this particular chapter, or text us with a question on this particular chapter. I can do both simultaneously.
William Ortiz is here. Copper Dan, what kind of wine is Shelley's favorite? You know, I go in cycles, but I really I do like a Gewürztraminer, a good naked Chardonnay. So the whites I really like, but I also enjoy a good red. Hey, we got a super chat. Cha-ching. Where are we going to cha-ching that from?
Well, you're asking me.
I know.
I'll pull it up from over here, so
okay.
it's easier. Wow, $50 from Copper Dan. Copper Dan, thank you very much. That was very kind of you, and I hope you're not doing it because I said that I would promote your the launch of your new product, because I would have done that whether or not you had sent us $50. But thank you very much.
Well, now we can just save up all the money he gives us and trade it back in for more of his artwork.
I need to pay for this equipment here.
Oh, okay.
Somehow.
All right. Let's see where we're at. Happy birthday, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And we're at the bottom again.
Do you want me to refill your glass?
Sure. Happy birthday to me. And Patricia Marin says, Feliz cumpleaños.
Wow, that was really good for a white person.
I grew up in Arizona. I can at least sound it out.
Feliz cumpleaños. Happy birthday, says Patricia.
That's right. Giant ball of string. Oh, see, Eric Schmidt. He was listening to me talk about the giant ball of string that was also a storybook, and I imagine this must be the link to that story.
Oh, thank you, Eric. That was very thoughtful.
And I think we're at the bottom again. Oops, did I miss a name? Cherokee Buffalo. That's a new name. Yeah.
And he's brown.
Brown?
Yeah, he says, I am brown.
Oh, I am brown with an E. I don't know what that means.
Maybe his last name is Brown with an E.
Oh, the real name. Okay, it was like, your name's Cherokee Buffalo. Where's the E? Where's the brown?
Oh,
maybe he's a brown buffalo.
So Lori James must have beat up on Man Alone. I'm going to have to go see that. Ow, and unsubscribed. Dang.
Uh-oh, what happened?
Well, Man Alone has been kind of he was on a Femme treasure tear for the first part of the summer, but recently he's migrated away from kind of Femme and into his other topics, fishing, cooking.
Right, Man Alone. Mm-hmm.
Right. Mm-hmm. And as Femme only comes up every once in a while, he's gotten he had a heart attack, so he's gotten very thoughtful about his life.
Sure. And
so a lot of it's impairing that. But when he has talked about Femme, it's been in I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to spend any money on that. So I didn't see that one. So, but apparently Lori took him on and then unsubscribed. So it might be worth a watch just to see what happened.
Wow. I did see in our chat last night people were calling him a wet blanket. So.
Oh, yeah. He can have his moments.
Paul Wood is here from Rio Rancho. Greg Ferguson from Moab. Matt?
We have a text message while you're doing that. This is from, so a couple of things, folks. If you would when you call in, first of all, make sure you turn the volume down on your computer so that we don't get an echo, a looping. And secondly, when you send in a text, share your name, your first name, and your location so I can mention it. This is from area code 218. I don't know where that is right now. Do you think the ball of string in this chapter is one of the aberrations that live out on the edge?
Sorry, what?
Do you think the ball of string in this chapter is one of the aberrations that live out on the edge?
No.
I don't either. I think the aberrations are not quite as... I think the aberrations are more subtle, not quite as obvious. The story of the string sounds like the story of the idea of collections. The fact that he couldn't get it out of his room. It got so big he couldn't get it out of his room, and then his father took care of it. I don't know necessarily.
Or his mother, we don't know.
Or his
yet.
mother, yeah.
We don't know which. It was a mystery.
But his father seemed to be the one that always questioned the idea of these collections that he was making, the bottle caps, et cetera, and his, let me show you what it's like to own bottle caps and then collect thousands of them for him. So I don't know necessarily that it was an aberration, except in the sense that it was another one of his collections. And certainly it's no more an aberration than the idea that he collected soda bottle caps. So I guess no, I don't think it's an aberration. I think maybe it's a personality trait, an indication of the personality trait. Because, I mean, how much time would you have to spend collecting enough string to build a ball big enough that you couldn't fit through your door? And not be embarrassed by telling the story. I mean, I don't think I'd want to tell anybody that. Like, hey, I have a ball of string in my room and I can't get it through my door. It sounds kind of, strange. So I don't think it's an aberration. I think it's just a personality quirk that he describes.
And I don't know what it would point to anyway.
And obviously, like Shelley said, if you've ever been in his house, the walls, every square inch of space that isn't furniture is covered with his collection of these Native American artifacts, of books relating to Native American artifacts. I mean, he is OCD about his collections, obviously, and then they're all cataloged. They're all tagged and cataloged. So, yeah, I don't know necessarily it's an aberration as much as it is an indication of his personality, and maybe his personality type.
Denise Bagley says, why call your solution a lottery ticket? Forrest, you won't stumble upon it. You follow the clues precisely. It will lead you right to the treasure chest. Whomever finds it will have to work for it.
I think it's because the lottery ticket, in my mind, is that everybody... So let me explain why I call it that. Everybody who's searching, 350,000 people, apparently. There's 350,000 people looking for this treasure. And each of them has drawn a lottery ticket, but they've had the opportunity to select their own 6 numbers, right? So their lottery ticket has the numbers they've chosen, and it comes out in the form of the solution. But the argument for it is what you just said right there. Follow the clues precisely. It will lead you to the treasure chest. None of us have the clues, and the reason none of us have the clues precisely is because none of us have found the treasure chest. So we're playing an odds game. We're hoping that our set of numbers, 3, 6, 9, 36, 99, 106, those are my numbers, by the way, are the ones that will precisely lead us to the treasure chest. But we also know that the treasure chest hasn't been recovered. So what you said, follow the clues precisely, has never happened. Therefore, we don't have the clues. Therefore, your guess about what Warm Waters Halt or Home of Brown or anybody else's is as good as anyone else's. So, yeah, it's a big lottery, and we don't even know who wins the lottery until the treasure is recovered. We'll never know which of those precisely followed clues was correct. So it's a big lottery.
Mm-hmm. Virgil Kane is here. David Dow. John Shannon says, for the book club, are you reading the entire chapters? I am getting the book soon, but I just wondered. No, I try to pull out the most important pieces of each chapter. There was a lot in this one because it synopsizes the contents of the chest and why Fenn decided to hide the treasure and all of the surroundings to the poem. So there was a lot more in this one. Sometimes I do leave things out that are just extra stuff that's fun in the story, but not relevant to what we're talking about.
You're still looking. Go ahead. So don't forget, folks, the phone. I think the phone lines are open. Did I make that up? No, phone lines are open. 1-800-947-1043. Call now with your questions and comments.
All right. Brian Eagle is here.
Hey, Brian. Brian was couldn't make the show last night because he was at a.
He has a life?
He has a life.
Unlike John O'Jones, who didn't even sleep and then went to work, and now he's here again. Poor guy.
Yeah, John, get some rest, for God's sake. He was at a, not a town hall, but he was evaluating one of the candidates for city council last night. So that's a
doing his civic duty.
Exactly, perfectly acceptable excuse.
Absolutely. Do not stop doing that. Sean Martinez, his autobiography could be factually first person, things he would leave out of The Thrill of the Chase. Mm-hmm. Eric Schmidt, the autobiography will include details of major events that were left out intentionally and why they motivated him. Perhaps.
So, yeah, our perception of the autobiography that's in the chest, in the olive jar in the chest, is very different from the memoir, The Thrill of the Chase, as was explained by my friend Michael Hoole, and we tend to agree with him. The Thrill of the Chase was a book written specifically to promote the idea of the chest and filled with stories that would make it his memoir rather than his autobiography.
Denise says, what do you think Forrest meant by, your biggest revenge is me wearing my bracelet? Revenge, what a word. In my opinion, it's not an Easter egg hunt. He also said he's not giving it away.
He is not giving it away, and it's obvious, again, that he hasn't given it away because 350,000 searchers, 8 years, nobody's found it, all that effort that's put into it. So it's obvious that he's not giving it away. I think the revenge is indicating, there's an old saying that the best revenge is living well.
I was going to say that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. We think too much alike. That's
why. go ahead and say it just so
talk.
I can hear you say.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. Finish it up.
So there's an old saying that the best revenge is living well. And it means that when there are people, actually that's more like what Shelley says, mine is sit long enough by the banks of the river and eventually the bodies of all your enemies will come floating by. But it's the same thought, and that is, if you can find a way to live well, the people, the 20% of the world that's not going to like you anyway, you're taking your revenge on them. And you're right, revenge is not a very subtle word. I think you could say the same thing by using a phrase, something like, the only thing I've done is to try to live well, or, you don't have to take it out on anyone because revenge implies that you're taking it out on someone. But I could see where he would have that kind of thinking, because when you're growing up the way he did, he had, the olive jar kid, who waved that olive jar in front of his nose at school. And I'm sure he was thinking about him as he was making this massive collection and putting it into the chest. That falls under that caveat of the best revenge is living well. How's Facebook over there?
I was just seeing, there was a comment. I heard about a 2-year-old child genius that solved the whole treasure hunt after reading the poem twice and looking at topographical maps. Unfortunately, he left the solution on his floor and his mom threw it out when she cleaned the house. Kind of goes with that whole string thing. That's practically a documentary.
2-year-old
genius.
Yeah, let's
can read
there's a
all of that and figure it out. Wow,
yeah,
that is a genius.
Pretty good story.
Most 2-year-olds most of them don't even know their alphabet yet. Some of them are starting to learn their alphabet. My daughter knew her alphabet when she was about 2.5. And that was pretty advanced because I taught preschool, and I can tell you that you're lucky if they can even speak coherently when they're 2.
So let me read this one for you. AGK, how many words are in The Thrill of the Chase? Well, it varies depending on what you're counting, if you're counting all the words that are included. But the number I use is over 28,000. So it really depends on what part of the book that you're counting, but you can use 28,000 as a pretty accurate number. I think Sean Dodson called me months ago and asked me that question because he knows I have a searchable copy of the book, and I think that's the number that we agreed upon.
Secret Place. How many think the word "it" is the key word? I think that's kind of a
that's funny. That
super generic word to be the key word.
Well, it's funny because that's been a topic of conversation on a lot of the after video or after live stream forums. Mm-hmm. I do not think I'm still stuck on treasure as the key word. Oh, let me read that one.
Okay.
AGK, Shelley looks very pretty today. Is that a type of crystal you're wearing? I don't know. Oh, no, that is a... so I go through these phases, and one of the phases was the... what do you call it? I don't even know what you call it anymore. It's not melted glass. It's... What is it?
Dichromatic?
Dichromatic glass. So I would buy these pieces, and they're not made for men. Men can't wear dichromatic glass. So I would get them, and I give them to Shelley, or one of my daughters.
Why does he misspell Wetherell's name? Did he misspell it?
I don't know. I don't think so. Wetherell? Wether.
E-L-L.
No, it's
I've seen it both.
It's I-L-L.
Oh, I've seen it with an A as well. So, who knows? Maybe it's one of those names that's spelled so many different ways in literature that we're not sure which one it is.
Go ahead and pay attention. I'm looking for his book.
Oh, okay.
It's way
and
over
thank you, Gregory Ferguson.
Oh, we got we got some text coming in.
Oh, okay.
So let me read this. Jared from Texas. Oh, thank you, JT, on YouTube. How do you interpret Fenn mentioning his mother looking out the window, waiting for the postman in this chapter?
In this chapter?
I don't think it was in this chapter.
It wasn't in this chapter.
I don't think it was in this chapter, JT.
I got lost.
Uh-oh. This is Rick Plank from Cincinnati.
All right.
Nice text message. AGK, did Forrest give any other public talks that you did not film but were witness to? Ooh, Rick, I started following the search in August of 2013, and what piqued my interest in it was an event, a book signing that he was doing at the Inn at Loretto in Santa Fe. And I don't remember him speaking much, certainly not as much as he did, and he was not answering many questions. I did not record that event because there was not actually much to record. As a matter of fact, I think the most biggest part of the event was that he had a friend of his from Santa Fe, New Mexico, who had written a song about the treasure hunt, and he played it that night. And it was very well done. The next event that I recorded was at Collected Works in late October, and that's when he was sitting with what's his name, Douglas Preston and Michael McGarity. Then I did Moby Dickens on November 2nd, and I think, to the best of my knowledge, I have recorded every event since October of 2013 at which he was speaking, I believe. There was an earlier event at Collected Works in early of 2013 that there are a couple of brief phone recordings of. I think Desert File has one, but I was not at that event. So I didn't, the first event I recorded was Collected Works in late October 2013, and I think I've recorded either recorded or streamed every event since. And that number's 8, if I remember correctly, 8 recordings, and 5 of which are live streams. Did you lose your place?
No, they're just having fun.
Oh, okay.
Planes, trains, and automobiles. That's not a pillow. It's a good Thanksgiving movie. Poser.
Is that a new name? Or just somebody calling somebody a name?
No, that's his name, or her name, or that person's name.
Okay, we have a text from Heather Dawn. Hi, this is Cherokee Buffalo. I am searching in Montana and heard you guys are coming to Wyoming. Is this true, and when? I would love to get your guys' autographs. So, Heather Dawn, we had a conversation with a fellow searcher that was planning to go to Wyoming at the end of September to do a search and wanted company, basically. Didn't want to do it alone, and invited us to come along, but they were flying in. They were going to be there for one day and then literally flying out at the end of the day, if I remember correctly. And for us, it's a 2-day drive up and a 2-day drive back because we're old people and we take our time. So we just couldn't make it work between our schedule and the fact that it would take us 2 days up to go out on a search, somebody else's search for a day, and then come back 2 days. So what we've arranged instead is we're going to meet in the spring when we can spend more time up there on our own. We are not searching necessarily. We just wanted to go up because I haven't seen Yellowstone since I was a kid, and I don't ever recall being to Cody, Wyoming. So we're going to go up and spend some time up there just to get some pictures and tell you some stories. So it won't be until next spring, and we would be happy to meet you for some coffee or a meal. And, well, I guess not that we could, not that we needed to, but we'll autograph anything. It's not going to be worth anything.
Except a check.
Except a check. Oh, so she's Cherokee Buffalo in the room today, as opposed to Heather Dawn.
Somebody figured that out.
Oh, okay.
One of our other.
Was it the emojis?
Maybe, I don't know. Anissa Hassan. Aren't AGK going to go to the Colorado border to find the treasure? We've tried.
Yeah, Anissa, if you've watched any of our videos from the past summer, we have been to the Colorado border, the Colorado-New Mexico border, 5 or 6 times this last summer alone, and we do plan to go back. We've committed to that search area until we've basically pulled a Cynthia and worn it all out. But yeah, we've been there 5 times or 6 times this year, including 1 week-long vacation at the end of the season. We are not going back for the remainder of the season. We've ended our search season early, although I may go back for some trout fishing, depending.
Arrowhead Junction. Is there no element of ungratefulness in not returning the bracelet? What am I missing?
Wait, could you ask the question again?
It's kind of a double negative. Is there no element of ungratefulness? Is there an element of gratefulness? Wait. Is there no element of ungratefulness in not returning the bracelet? What am I missing?
Yes. Yes, there is no element of ungratefulness in not returning the bracelet, and the reason is Forrest transferred title to the owner, and the owner can decide what they want to do with the chest, including deciding whether or not they want to return the bracelet to Fenn, and it's all moot if Fenn has passed when the treasure is found anyway.
Can't text Toby pictures?
You can't text. I don't know. Good question. What do you want to send? Do not
It's
send.
totally not Mitzi. So what do you think?
I don't know. Try totally not Mitzi. Say, if you send a picture of, say, the Last Supper, feel free. No, I don't know. I don't know if you can text them to this to the smart line because they're going to the smart line. So let's see if it filters them out. Go ahead. Send me a picture.
With regards to the bracelet, if you actually really did find the treasure and have it in hand and contacted Forrest and let him know, I have found the treasure, he would say, would you sell me the bracelet back? He wouldn't say, would you give it to me? He doesn't do that. He has not yet done that. He's always said, I may make you an offer, or would you sell it back to me? So at that point, if he's willing to buy it back, go ahead and let him buy back. I don't think he'd want it handed over because he wouldn't have to put any work into something like that. He likes to have to earn or work at what he collects and what he owns. He doesn't like things handed to him.
Come on, send us some text or call in, guys. Let's have a conversation here. I want to.
Jimmy Fast keeps putting up the number, and it's on the screen in the center of our names there. I'm not seeing any new comments on Facebook. So send us a text or Call Toby. He's so lonely. Call Toby. He's so lonely. Poor Toby.
Poor Toby.
I'm still reading.
Okay.
Copper Dan, do you think the rainbow comment at the beginning of the poem has meaning? Will it help with the solve? The rainbow.
At the end of my...
Yeah, I remarked upon it as well. And I don't know if it is in reference to, say, like, there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow because there's gold and more in the chest. Or if he's talking about, like I said, the life and death bridge. Or could it be a real rainbow that he's, toying with, telling us it's near the water where there's spray and there's always a rainbow in the air? Mm-hmm. Don't know.
So I'll give you my opinion on the matter. We've talked in the past about something called the hero story, and all stories go in an arc from beginning to end, although the hero story continues after they reach a certain point. And an end of a rainbow in the hero story, if it was a story arc, it would be the end of that hero's life. And if you recall correctly, Fenn had mentioned more than once that he had planned to die where he hid the treasure. And so it would be the end of his rainbow if you looked at it from this is for you, Laurie James, metaphysical perspective, and the treasure and his life ended at precisely that same location.
Davio.
Oh my God, it's the Davio. This is the Tipsy Gypsies, Davio. What's your question?
Can he hear you?
I don't know if you can hear me. Davio, can you hear me? Oh, he's muted. Okay,
oh.
Davio. Davio? Davio?
Well, Davio's trying to get through, but I got nothing but garbly mess.
Okay.
I'm try back again.
No. You're good. You're good. Talk to us.
Give Toby a chance to get things right here.
Talk to us. This. No.
Oh, yeah. All he can hear was garbly gook.
Okay, we got a text message from Treasure Carver in Seattle. From the first line in paragraph 2, he mentions the grapette and the bottle being so small there was almost no room for the drink inside. Could that hint at the chest is in a tight space? Okay, here we go.
Anything's possible.
Yeah. Let's see, Davio. Oops, where'd he go? Davio? Davio?
Did we lose him?
Yeah, I think we did. It didn't go. It didn't. The call didn't complete.
Oh. Try again.
Yeah, Davio, try again. Let's talk.
We're still here.
I'm going to move this microphone away from you because you're leaning into it and clipping. Go ahead. You can do what you were doing.
Well, it's because you're making me reach so far for the arrow key.
Well, I gave you the mouse. Don't you?
Oh.
That's why it was there.
I was using the mouse last night, and everything just kept jumping and jumping and jumping and jumping, and I got
you
really
do what makes you
tired
comfortable.
of everything jumping.
Okay, Davio says he's going to try one more time.
Jeremy Milstead says, what are your thoughts on Forrest saying, don't try to carry it all home in one trip?
I don't actually remember Forrest ever saying that. Okay, let's try this one more time. Davio, this is Tipsy Gypsies. Can you hear us?
Well, hello, treasure hunters. This is Davio 22 out here in California.
It is.
Wanted to say hi.
It is.
You guys are doing a bang-up job.
Thank you.
On my end, it sounds like a whole bunch of garbly mess, and I can't understand a word you're saying.
You mean on the telephone?
But I can't hear you, so if you can hear me, I'll put out a question. If it bites, you can just not put it to air. My question is, do you not think that the book is like a workbook to give you hints and clues to where the treasure poem is trying to hint and clue you to? I find that the stories in the book aren't really stories as much as trying to get you to go and see and look at something. Like all these numbers that you guys were talking about, and the exact dimensions of the box itself, 10 by 10 by 6. I find that 26 and 10 and 10 and 6 are all numbers that are relevant. 42 is extremely important. So those are the numbers that I am finding that are relevant. I was just curious if you found that to be true for yourself as well. Okay, well, Dave out, because I can hear you guys.
Okay.
Love everybody.
Thank you.
Dave out.
All right. So let me go back and see if I can answer the question that Davio asked, and that was whether or not we thought the book was one big indicator that there are things in the poem and that it contains hints and clues. Fenn has said that the way to find this treasure is to read the poem, read the book, read the poem many more times, and then read the book again many more times. So when he says that, it is an indication to me that one without the other would make it impossible for me to find the treasure. So I've always put weight and stock in have always put weight and stock in the fact that I've got my own audio messed up here. Weight and stock in that you cannot read the poem without getting the benefit of reading the book. And so I'm not going to suggest to anyone that you should go out and buy the book, but you need to read the poem and then place the poem in the context of all the other things he says in the book. In addition to that, he has said more than once, there are hints in the book. The clues are in the poem, there are hints in the book, and there are a couple of aberrations around the edge. So there is something in the book that might give us an indication of what the value of the clues in the poem are. I would like to believe that properly read, the book will tell us where to find the warm waters that we began the treasure hunt at. But that's a hypothesis. But I don't see, I agree with Davia in the sense, I probably don't put as much weight in the relationship between the two as he does, but I do believe there is an important relationship between what's in the poem and what's in the book.
So Anissa Hassan is interested in the area of Toltec Gorge, and she says, at Toltec Gorge there is a natural arrowhead arch I found on Flickr. I don't know how to reach this, but a commenter wrote, you have to walk the railroad tracks.
Oh, interesting. Alyssa, that's interesting that you should mention that. Alyssa, I'm sorry.
Anissa.
Oh, Anissa, excuse me. Anissa Hassan. It's funny that you should mention that because our friend Jack, do you remember his screen name? The gentleman that found the skull in which we had hid the coin near the Rio de los Pinos. He mentioned to us while we were talking, as a matter of fact, he mentioned to it while we were live streaming, that he saw that same arrowhead symbol and mentioned it to us and suggested that if we were going to find the treasure, and I know where he's talking about, I had never looked up, apparently, to find the arrowhead, but he mentions it there, and it is, as he described it, in the area that we are looking for the treasure. If you have to walk along the railroad tracks to do that, that particular section of the railroad tracks runs along the side of what is effectively a cliff face. It would be very dangerous for you to walk along the railroad tracks at that point. The second thing is that if you see it from the railroad tracks, you're 500 feet away, vertical distance, from the bottom of that valley where the Rio de los Pinos travels. So I would find it hard to make the relationship between the arrowhead up on the cliff face near the railroad tracks, and we're talking about the Cumbres and Toltec Railroad, and where we're looking down in the bottom of the valley along the river, along the Rio de los Pinos. But we know Jack was very impressed by the existence of that particular... So we got a call from Janet. Gypsies. Hi, Janet. Can you hear me okay? So, Janet, you have to turn back down your radio, please, so that we don't get the looping.
Got it. Got it. It's down.
Okay. And can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Oh, great. Great. So, Heather Dawn, we're on a call right now, so let us talk with Janet first, and then you can call in just a bit. So, Janet, how are you doing?
I'm fine, Toby. How are you?
Very good. We're doing well. We're having a good time.
Okay. I have a question, and that is what you think of the colon that is before the poem. Do you think it's there because there is no title to the poem? Do you think it's because the sentence before the poem is important?
Okay, well, let's see. He finishes it with, let me get to it so I can read it correctly. So it's a colon that ends the sentence. Let me read the entire sentence. So, and like Eric Sloan at almost 80, I figured it was time to act. So I wrote a poem containing 9 clues that, if followed precisely, will lead to the end of my rainbow and the treasure. And the implication of that colon at the end of the sentence, as opposed to a period starting, is several things. So there's a grammatical component that, because he's not introducing a titled product, in the sense the poem is just kind of free form and included as part of the chapter itself. I think one of the things that he was trying to do with a poem is give it a sense of normality, that you're not looking at something normal. The other thing I think it indicates is that the poem, even though it is a poem and it's not prose, is connected to the beginning of that chapter, from the very beginning of that chapter, because it simply is an extension of that particular chapter. So I think that's what the colon, rather than the period, indicates. The logic of that is how much of that chapter is then, as a result of that colon, connected to the poem, and I think that's what Davio was trying to express in a much grander sense. So the answer to your question is, I think the colon is significant. I think the colon ties the poem to the what precedes it in that chapter, and I think what precedes it in that chapter then becomes tremendously important.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
You guys
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you very much. Thank you for calling in. So,
Bye-bye.
Bye. So I'm going to take Heather Dawn's call here, but I want everybody to know that when we're, Heather Dawn, hold on just a moment. I'm going to, hold on. Heather Dawn, hold on for just a second so I can say something on the show. So when we're on a call with somebody, the problem is you can't see it because there's a 60-second delay when we end the call. But if you're calling in when we're on the phone, it will simply send you to voicemail after 3 or 4 rings, because we don't have the capability to process, to put phone calls in line. So if you get a voicemail, just wait till you see us on screen, hang up the call, and then make your call then. So you've reached the Tipsy Gypsies. What's your question, Heather Dawn?
Well, has anyone ever thought that Majestic Forrest Fenn actually put the map out there with his picture on it because he actually made a map that, if you found the map, every clue is on the map?
So you're going to take the mouse back. So Heather Dawn, here's what I think about that. I think it is very possible that Forrest Fenn owns a pre-printed map of some kind, perhaps a Nat Geo quad. And on that Nat Geo quad are indications of where each of the clues in his poem is. You deleted the map.
I know I did the wrong one.
Well, you better.
I don't know how to undo it though.
Yeah.
It was this one.
I actually joined a map group, and that is how I found every one of my clues.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I think it's important for everybody to do that. I'm unable to do that because I can't do that from my desk. I have to be boots on the ground, and we have gotten to a certain extent. And I have marked what few we found with a geographic or a GPS. But I imagine that there is a map that Forrest Fenn owns someplace. And let me finish what I was about to say. And I imagine that map is a Nat Geo quad or another quad map, in which is put X's on each of the implementations, the physical elements that make up the clues. And he's got that somewhere in his vault and hidden away. And he may or may not have destroyed that in the process of making sure that only one person knows where this treasure is. But I think it's a good thought. I think the map may have existed. I don't know at one time. I don't know necessarily in Fenn's need for not having any indications where this treasure is, whether or not the map still exists. But I think it was possible that it did at some time in the past. Okay?
Well, this map that I found, actually, you have to go way back into 865 to line up the last clue.
Oh, you mean 1865, is that right? Or do you mean 865?
Yes.
All right. Well,
1865.
that sounds like a really good subject for your first YouTube video, so I'm going to suggest you do that.
Okay, I will do that. Thank you, guys, and I love you.
I love you too. You have a good day.
So Copper Dan,
Bye.
sorry.
Go
So
ahead.
Copper Dan says we neglected to answer his question. He gave a super chat for, but I was looking through the chat, and the only one I saw from him was the one about the rainbow, which we did answer. Fenn's rainbow.
So I'm looking at it now, and there was no question associated with the super chat. Dan, if there was another question, make sure that you get it answered. Generally speaking, when you do the super chat, you have the option of writing the question right beneath your donation, if you will, and that's where we see it. If it's someplace else in the chat, make sure you highlight it by using the @ Gypsy's Kiss, so it highlights it for us and we know it's there. And if it's not, do me a favor now. This would be a good time to text that question to 800-947-1043 so that we can make sure that we answer it before we finish today's show.
So we're having some comments about people who saw the BuzzFeed video, and we're saying that, talking about that and the white of the waterfall being the blaze. Christy K. Pro is here, and she said she was in late, so she doesn't want to make a call or comment because she's doesn't feel like she's up on it. But Christy, all we talked about was the chapter Gold and More and hiding of the treasure. So you're welcome to call if you'd like, or text or comment, anything you want to say.
And don't forget to turn off your audio before you make your call so that we don't get looping.
Mitzi says, do you think the last line of the poem is important at all to the solve, being as Fenn changed it? And we're, of course, of the opinion that the clues begin at where warm waters halt and end at cease, your quest to cease. So we feel the rest of it is just fluff and legal speak. And
yeah, well, I wouldn't use the word fluff in the sense that it does have meaning, but we don't think that paragraphs 1, 5, 6, and the second half of paragraph 4 actually have an effect on your ability to locate the treasure. It may have an impact on your ability to keep the treasure, because it sounds very much in stanzas 1, 5, and 6 like a legal document. The last line of the poem wouldn't necessarily make any difference to our solution.
Off Trail Jaeger says, has Forrest confirmed all the geographic locations of the clues are in the search area?
Wait, say that again.
Has Forrest confirmed all the geographic locations of the clues are in the search area?
All the geographic location of clues are in the search area.
So, like, could where warm waters halt be outside of the Rocky Mountains, but by the time you get to the end, you could be in the Rocky Mountain region?
I think somebody asked him a question like that once, and he gave one of his Fenn answers where he didn't answer it either positively or negatively, and because he didn't answer it, it is presumed that it is possible. But I don't know why he would do that, because again, in our perception, I'm going to take Dale's phrase. We're small-scale solution guys, as we call them, triple S guys, small-scale solution guys. So the implication that let's say where warm waters halt is out of the search area, that being the Rocky Mountains, that to us means a drive. We do not think that you have to drive from the point that you park your car to start to look for that treasure. You park your car and you walk to the treasure is how a small-scale solution guys are. Arrowhead Junction, AGK, his granddaughter wants the bracelet, and yes, he would write a check. Arrowhead Junction, it's all hypothesis until somebody finds the treasure. Until then, I'm not going to worry about the bracelet. nor should you.
Yeah,
You
he may
should
have passed away by then.
You should simply worry about how good your solution is and how fast you can get to the treasure, and then you can make all the decisions about how to dispose of that treasure in whatever way you want.
Brit Chaser says, for you, what, and this is funny because it's kind of, I think it's payback for your tell me something I don't know last night.
Oh, okay.
Which I have to admit was my idea.
That was her idea.
I love when Chris Matthews does that.
I thought it was a great idea.
Yeah. So get used to it, panel members. Okay, so for you, what are the what ifs that Fenn asks us to consider?
Well, for me, the most obvious one, although I don't believe, I think I know the answer. Probably the biggest what if is, what if he didn't hide a treasure, right? You have to get past that one first in order to move forward. And the conclusion I came to after that is that whatever there are in what ifs, you have to get yourself past each one of them. What if there is no treasure? What if it's not in the Rocky Mountains? What if the poem doesn't actually describe the solution? So all the what ifs are really obstacles to you reaching a reasonable conclusion to where all of this is. And so you can ask, it's fair to ask the what ifs, but every time you do, I believe you're making an obstacle in your own mind to actually focusing on the poem, what the clues mean, and where that treasure is. And I did, Brit Chaser, I did exactly the same that you did. I made a list of what ifs, and the first one was, what if he didn't actually hide a treasure? What if this is all a hoax? And then I kept going from there. What if this? What if that? What if warm waters are outside the search area? What if the search area is 100 miles long? What if all of these? And all that what if exercise in what ifs, although it's good to, it actually is good in the sense that it should reinforce, if anything, what you believe about A, your solution, and B, how to find that treasure. I think it's a good exercise. But if you allow it to infect your thinking on this matter, it will create obstacles that you don't need. I'm always surprised about the number of people that say, and we had a call a couple of weeks ago from that one young gentleman in Florida who said that his friend had told him it was a big hoax, and he had created the big what if it is a hoax, and he was having a hard time getting past that. You start asking those what if questions, and you're rapidly going to get to the point where you're not going to spend another penny coming from the UK to the US, because the what ifs will infect your solution. I like that. Infect.
Ooh, infect.
Yeah, infect.
Get some disinfectant. So JM4N says, what do you think of the blaze being the white of a waterfall? And that was in the BuzzFeed video. And personally, I think a blaze could be pretty much anything. You just got to get where warm waters halt right and canyon down, and then look for anything that you think is a blaze, because
indicates
who knows what's in Fenn's mind.
Right. So I'm going to respond to that in two ways. One way is there is a mythology about the blaze being white that started with a comment that was made by either Forrest or someone in an interview.
It was a video interview.
And then it was blamed on Dale about expanding it. Dale clarified it. So the white part, the blaze being white, is part of the Fenn mythology. The second thing is, I'm going to give you the same advice that Fenn gave everybody else, and that is, don't look for the blaze if you don't know where warm waters halt is, or warm waters halt. Because you're never going to get to the blaze if you can't find that. So we focus on that. We literally do not focus on imagining what the blaze is. Now, we have our opinions that it could have a geological component because it has to last a long time. It is somewhere near where the treasure is, so we have to invest some time in searching there. But we're implementing our solution one clue at a time. Warm waters halt, canyon down, home of Brown, no place for the meek, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we're nowhere near the Blaze right now. And nor would we just go out and start spending time looking for a Blaze until we had found the clues that preceded it. Because the little girl in India can only find the first 2 clues without being boots on the ground, and that's kind of where we're at. So we don't think much about the Blaze. I mean,
it's,
I don't mean
possible.
Yeah, anything is possible.
It's possible.
Anything is possible for the Blaze to be.
Brent Farler wants to know, what's the best New Mexico style restaurant in Santa Fe?
Oh, wow.
Well, it depends on if you want to be in the plaza area or just anywhere in the whole city.
Well, the answer to the question is Sadie's. Find it.
Sadie's?
Sadie's.
Really? In
Yeah.
Santa Fe?
Yeah.
Oh.
There's a lot of New Mexican restaurants in Santa Fe, but it is the
Well, he
longest
grew
alive.
up there, so.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sadie's.
We like Maria's and...
Blue corn.
Yeah.
Although they can't make an enchilada worth a damn.
Yeah, you have to tell them how to do it. But they'll do it for you after you explain it.
You'd think a place called the Blue Corn restaurant would know how to make a blue corn enchilada. I have to practically draw a diagram for them.
Yep. Stacked, not rolled.
Who does rolled enchiladas?
Arizona. They're supposed to be stacked with an egg on top. Yeah, I didn't know about stacked enchiladas until my aunt, who is Mexican from Mexico, made dinner for us one time, and she made the stacked enchiladas with the fried egg on top, and we're like, what's this? This is interesting. Of course, it was delicious.
Yeah.
And being from Arizona, that's all we ever had was the rolled.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for questions.
So Heather, Don, and Davio, 2 good questions today, huh? I like that. Off-trail hunter, Jager.
We're gonna have to get through this quickly because we're already at an hour and a half here.
Oh gosh, okay.
Has Forrest confirmed that all the clues correspond to geographic points within the search area? For example, the first 4 form an X on a map and the final 5 lead to the chest.
Wow, I don't know that he's actually said that specifically. I don't think there is any indication in which he said, he says things like, you have to have a good map, you have to walk the distance, right? I don't think he's actually ever said that each of the clues represent to a corresponding, a physical corresponding location on the map. As a matter of fact, we discussed that last night. And so, for example, yeah, I don't think he's actually said that in that way. I don't recall him saying that. Maybe somebody would correct me with a citation to a quote that he said something like that, but I don't recall him saying anything like that.
Christy wants to know if we're going to do another Boots on the Ground this year.
I don't think so. Christy, we have a location. We don't need to look for another search area. We've done as much as we can without going back and doing some additional library-style research before we can go back there with confidence. But, you know, if I get the urge to drive up, I may go up there one day just because I want to go fishing in the area. And if I'm going fishing in the area, I might as well collect some additional intelligence. So, but to answer your question, no, we're not planning another. We are not presently planning another search this season.
John Bobbitt wants to say hi.
Hey,
Hi,
John Bobbitt. How are you doing? Long time no see.
Are you enjoying your RV?
He and his brother are probably still working on it. So, yeah, send us pictures of your RV so that we can see it.
Jose Zamora wants to know, what is the name of the art gallery that Forrest Fenn sold, and is it still open?
It was called the Femme Galleries in Santa Fe, and it is presently the Matucci Galleries in Santa Fe. It's as you spin around on the Paseo de Peralta. It's on the southeastern corner of Paseo de Peralta. It's a beautiful gallery. It was very well known in the area, and interestingly, it was there before the Paseo de Peralta was, which takes you downtown past the Capitol, not downtown, but past the Capitol building and the NRA. I'm sorry, not NRA. It's their PERA building. And it's on that southeastern corner of Peralta, across the street from the PERA building. And it was before the Paseo de Peralta. It was just kind of buried back there behind Canyon Road. And then Paseo de Peralta developed right literally next to it. So it made it very popular and very visible.
Sean Martinez is thinking about going boots on the ground this weekend. So if you're going to drive by Albuquerque, you know, you could pick us up on the way.
Yeah, give us a call. We'll get some. We'll get some lunch.
Meep, meep.
Or just honk and wave as you go by on I-4. Well, let's see. He's coming on I-25.
Well, that's not far.
No, it's not far.
I think we're at the bottom.
Anissa Hassan, do you need a flashlight to find the blaze? We do not think so unless you're searching at night.
But Sean Martinez has one, so if you need to borrow one. Get a buzz.
Text message from John Wayne. Let's see, maybe he sent us some pictures. Oh, he did.
Oh, look.
Wow, look at that.
So you can post pictures, see?
No, he sent these to
to your regular
Why
phone.
am I peeking? Wow. He sent these to my personal. Wow, John Bobbitt, that's very nice. Let me see if I can open one up here to show everybody. So this is John Bobbitt's. Let me see. It's too bright.
Yeah, it's bright.
Can you guys see it? That's his new motorhome that he got. Class A motorhome. So big question is, when are you going to come? Oh, wow, look at this.
Virgil Kane wants to know.
I thought he said it was used. It may be used, but it's in pretty good shape.
Well,
so.
Yeah, but if people just park it and cover it up and everything and don't use it, then it stays pretty nice.
I think he's got a picture of the interior here. Pretty fancy, JB. So that's the interior of John's.
Virgil Kane wants to know, did Fenn's original poem say, look past the stones, take the chest, and leave my bones?
There is some mythology associated with that, and I think the correct verbiage in the mythology was... is that my ice maker?
Yes.
Oh. I think the mythology is, if you've been wise and found the stones, just take the chest and leave my bones, I think, is the mythology.
We don't know. I don't think he's ever... Has he ever come out and said?
He said something at Moby Dickens like that.
Oh, yeah. He just said like that. He wasn't quoting specifically.
Right. There is... Take a look at the Moby Dickens video, and he mentions something like that he had written the poem one way, and then he lived. He didn't die from cancer, so he had to rewrite the poem. But I think, if I remember correctly, it's something like, if you've been wise and found the stones, just take the chest and leave my bones. I have no way to confirm.
Which is awesome, because that's what I think the blaze is.
A rock cairn that has literally zero.
It's the river of rocks.
Oh, I see. Oh, interesting.
See? Uh-huh. Yeah. I think we're done with the chat. We better move on, because people are dropping like flies here. And,
oh, okay.
And we need to close us out and
number-wise
get ready for our next show.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we're going to drop now. We're going to close off the chat. I am going to close off the... I've got an echo.
Perhaps. Just do this. And...
You do that and I'll do this. Okay, phone lines are closed.
Okay.
Literally, I have a horrendous echo. It's like my microphone isn't...
We need slides on deck. Where's the slides?
Testing 1, 2, 3. All right, that's better. Testing 1,
Where's
2.
the slides?
Ooh, slides.
Because
okay.
this isn't what we're looking at next.
Okay.
So I can't transition, because I don't know where you put everything. Where? Oh, there it is. Okay, so are we there?
No.
Is it showing?
We're there now.
Transition. Okay. So thank you, everybody, for being here tonight at 7 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time. The Softer Side After Dark. Look at that. It's in celebration of doing Chapter 23, Golden War, today. On the Softer Side tonight, we're going to talk about finding your treasure. So make sure you're there at 7 o'clock, and we will open up the chat room. And
are we going to do call-ins tonight?
We're going to do call-ins.
Oh.
So be ready with your questions for us, and look forward to it. That's at thesofterside.me, 7 o'clock tonight. And tomorrow, 1 o'clock p.m. Friday.
Oh, sorry. I'm ahead.
It's all about you. is going to be live for the first time ever. Exciting. So you can tune in and you can comment, ask questions, and use the 1-800 text as well.
Yeah, we're not going to open up the phone call for this because I don't want it to slow down the interview, but you'll be able to ask questions in your comments of the person that we're interviewing for It's All About You tomorrow, and you will be able to send texts to the 1-800 number, and as soon as we're finished with the interview, we'll start taking texts and comments for the interviewer.
Okay. And all of our live shows are going out now to Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch. So you can use your preferred method. Then tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Friday, September 21st, Forrest Fenn, Friday Fandango. Be there. Open lines. Toby is going to be your DJ for the night, spinning those phone calls because he's not doing records. So call in. He's going to catch up on any texts or voicemails that have come in during the week that he hasn't been able to talk about yet. He'll pull those out on Friday, and any new calls and texts, he will also pull those out on Friday and answer all your questions. So be there 7 p.m. Friday, live streamed to Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch with chat, text, and call in.
Yeah, we'll do it all tomorrow night. It should be a lot of fun. And then, so I'm adding a test program on Saturday at 8 p.m. I am going to restream our programs from Tuesday, the Wednesday panel, and today's show without the follow-on chat. So I'm going to take the basic shows and I'm going to restream them starting at 8 o'clock on Saturday. It'll be a live stream, but basically it'll be a live stream of those 3 videos all consecutively. So if you're one of those folks that can never catch up, and so you have to look at the video, but you eliminate having the chat, the only thing that this is going to do for you is give you some time, 8 o'clock on. I don't know how, I haven't actually measured each one of them, but it'll give you some time from 8 o'clock on Saturday after Fenn Treasure Hunter to come into the live stream, watch these 3 shows, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and you can chat with your friends. Okay, so we're going to try it out. I don't know whether it's something that everybody wants, but we thought we'd throw it out there because it's relatively little work for us. All we have to do is upload the videos and restream schedules of them for us. So,
but you're going to cut off the chats.
Yeah, I'm going to cut off the chat. So
a little bit of editing.
Yeah, so minor editing in the sense that, and I do that with the recreator. So yeah. It literally is just a few minutes.
Nice.
And I think
is there any more?
That's it. No.
That's it.
We can go back to full screen.
Okay. Thank you all so much for being here. We know you have a choice when you spend time on YouTube with FenTubers, and we appreciate that you're here with us today. And for A Gypsy's Kiss, the book club, I'm Shelley Carney.
And I'm Toby Eunice. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again this evening on the softer side, and then tomorrow with our It's All About You interview.